and welcome to your HitchcockMovies.com. We're your hosts, Jeff and Diane, and this is movie number 16, Young and Innocent, from 1937. This title is Young and Innocent for the British release, but in the United States it was actually called The Girl Was Young. After Sabotage, Gaumont British, the studio, was actually starting to have big financial troubles, so they announced that they were closing down operations. Hundreds of people were fired immediately, and they decided that they were just going to be a distribution company and no longer a studio. So after that, Hitchcock actually signed a 2-picture deal with Gainsborough Pictures with a fellow named Edward Black. Now, because Gaumont was still distributing it, it still says that at the beginning, but we do have a little bit of a change of venue for Hitchcock. We had a good run, though, with Gaumont British. Certainly, they brought us all those great movies that he worked with Charles Bennett, and that was fun. So it does signal the beginning of the end of his run of films in Britain. So after they finished Sabotage, Hitchcock and Charles Bennett, as usual, went out to Switzerland to hang out and work on their next movie, which of course is tonight's movie, Young and Innocent, adaptation of a book. The book was called A Shilling for Candles, and the author is Josephine Tey. This is a great example of how much Hitchcock and Charles Bennett changed this book. They completely altered the book. And it reminds me of that story that Hitchcock likes to tell in the Truffaut book about how he reads the book quickly, thinks it's a good idea, will make a great movie, and then forgets everything about the book and creates cinema. This is just a perfect example of that. There are so many changes, it's unrecognizable, and that's not a bad thing in this particular case. After completing the script, Charles Bennett went off to Hollywood. He got an offer he couldn't refuse from Universal Pictures, and of course Hitchcock is soon to follow. A little background for tonight's movie. We open up with a husband and wife, and they're quarreling bitterly at each other. They're fighting. The woman is a famous actress, and her husband is accusing her of cheating on her and doing all these things with young boys, and they fight, and of course the next morning she washes up on the beaches and she's dead, and we have another guy sort of wandering upon the scene, and he's the hero of our movie. He's suspected of her murder, and there's your movie. The movie is starring Derek DeMarnay. He plays this young guy that's happened upon the murder. He plays a screenwriter who used to know her, this famous actress, before, which is one of the reasons he was suspected of her murder. If you don't recognize that actor, he actually did have a big, long film career, but just not in Hollywood. He never went to the United States and only made British movies. So it's certainly not someone I'd ever heard of. Another big name in this movie is Nova Pilbeam, and of course we remember her. She was the young daughter who was kidnapped in The Men Who Knew Too Much, the 1934 version of that. She had a great stage career when she was young. This was her second big movie, anyways, that she was in, where she was in this film. She actually met her husband-to-be on this set, and pretty much got married soon afterwards and retired from films in the 40s. So again, if you're not wondering who's Nova Pilbeam, that's why. She plays the daughter of the chief of police in this little town that we're in, and she lives at home still with her father, and she's got all these younger brothers that they live with, and I guess her mother has died, so she's kind of the mother of the family, if you will. Also look for Percy Marmont. He's in this movie. He plays her father. Well, he was the commander in that movie Rich and Strange, the guy who wanted to whisk off the character played by Joan Barry, and he was also in Secret Agent. He was the guy that unfortunately got killed by our secret agents, even though he was the wrong man. And also look for a Hitchcock cameo. It's a good one in this particular movie. This film from 1937, a year where Suzanne Pleshette was born, and of course we'll see her again in the 1963 film The Birds, which, if I'm not mistaken, was one of her first movies. And look for birds in this film, actually, Signaling Chaos. It's the first of many attempts. And also a year where Anthony Hopkins was born. Never a Hitchcock movie, but interesting buzz around Anthony Hopkins is he may actually end up playing Alfred Hitchcock in a biopic movie to be made later, called, or to do with the making of Psycho. So good. So here we go from 1937, Young and Innocent.
Has anyone seen my belt?
All right. Let's watch.